Welcome everybody to Ascend Financial Wellness's Wealth Building module. My name is Brian Foltis and I am the founder and president of Ascend Financial Wellness, as well as an associate professor of finance at Butler University in Indianapolis, Indiana. This, my friends, is the fun part where we get to think about building wealth. We've gotten out of debt, if that was applicable to you. We know what to do. We have our budget, and now it's time to build wealth and not look back. So here's what we're going to do today. We lay out our purpose and motivation for doing this. And then what we're trying to do is we're looking at ways to automatically invest, automate this as much as possible. Choosing investments is a side note. Everyone likes to talk about how we choose investments. I'll let them continue to talk about that. Here, we've been harping on coming up with margin in our budgets. That is the primary focus. After that, then we can choose investments. But along with that is that fourth point where we're also going to need to harness some help, where even myself, who is a finance professor, has somebody who's helping me with my financial advising and my tax advising as well. And so we're going to talk about that at the very end. So our purpose in planning, if we don't have it already, we are not going to look back. Whether we've been out of debt for days or years, we do not want to go back into debt. Back in the days when I was teaching financial peace for Dave Ramsey many, many years ago, what I noticed is everyone would get really excited and fired up about getting out of debt, and then they'd come back a year later and like, I did it again, back in debt. And so what I want to make sure with our budgets and with our lifestyles is that we're living a life of margin, and that it's not just a flash in the pan where we've been out of debt and we fall back into this cycle of debt. And so it's kind of like it's kind of like working out, where I see the guys in the gym and they're just really pushing hard and they're going crazy. And I think now, from my perspective as a 40-year-old who used to be an athlete, that used to be me. But now I look at it and go, well, I'm going to do my stuff here. I'm not going to set any records, but guess what? I'll most likely be back in the gym in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years doing this. You're going to get hurt in the next 90 days, and you're not going to be any better off in a year or two than you were before this all happened. And so I want you to have a different mentality about this, is we're setting up a lifestyle to maintain for the rest of our lives. And that's a lifestyle of maintaining some profitability and margin in our budgets. So let's determine our why for building wealth. I already told you that this is actually, this is a one-way dialogue instead of a class interaction. These are my top three for my why for building wealth: security, freedom, and then changing the family tree of my family's finances, and building wealth for my kids and my kids' kids who haven't been born yet. So just to keep some things in mind, I put this up here. Millionaire Next Door is a great book just to read about some of the behaviors of the millionaire next door. Those who are truly millionaires are not living in the huge houses. They have a nice house, they have a decent car, but they're not driving the flashy cars, and they're not living in the huge houses. They're living a life of margin. And so here's the good news for those of us who did not inherit any millions dollars of money. 80 to 85% of all millionaires are self-made. And here's one thing I want you to keep in perspective. Countless millionaires have told me that the journey to wealth is much more satisfying than the destination. So as we are going down this path, on this journey to reach a goal, let's not forget to enjoy the process. Enjoy the journey here. Love those around you. Be available for those who you love, your friends, your family. Let's keep things in perspective as we focus on building wealth and understand why we are doing this in the first place. Oh, I'm getting a little preachy today. Okay, why do you believe? What do you believe is required to enjoy the journey of wealth building? So that's the question that I want you to answer. What do you believe is required to enjoy the journey of wealth building? This is me. Um, Discipline. So you do have to have some discipline to abide by the budget. Another one that I like is forgiveness of yourself for mistakes. So if you have a setback, if you have an expensive month, forgive yourself and move on. Don't beat yourself up. Um, Love yourself, love others. Let's not forget that. And sometimes, if we're going through some hard times, we just need to persevere and be resilient. That has been something I've talked to my kids a lot about over this past pandemic. Uh, is trying to be resilient and adapt to the different things that are happening, all while trying to keep a smile on our face through the process. All right, so here we go. We first step for the wealth building track is an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of living expenses. This you can choose how many months you want to put for your emergency fund. I know I have 3 as I'm a tenured professor, which leads to a little bit more of income stability. And if I were a salesperson or on the front lines of a company that has layoffs, I might want to move that number up a little bit. After the emergency fund is set, we've got, or you can also call this emergency fund. Some people call it the FU fund if you want to quit your job, or the go to hell fund if you want to tell your boss to go to hell and get fired. Then that's what the emergency fund is for. Silver level is retirement contribution, which is going to be around 10% or a little bit more, depending on your circumstances. Ideally, what we'd like to see you get to is that maximum contribution of $19,500 a year. So that number as a percentage will look different based on incomes. But if we could get close to that maximum retirement number, that would be amazing. And short-term savings come after the long-term savings. Why? Because you don't get a second chance to retire. You don't get any do-overs. And if you don't save enough for your later age and you get sick, then you can't go back and redo it and earn more money. So we put that higher up the list than our short-term savings, which are our savings for a car in case our car breaks, a new house, a business that we're trying to start, something along those lines. We talked about good and bad loans back in our debt reduction module. And so we're going to just talk about short-term savings that will help us achieve good goals and not set us back again. Once we have those set, again, over 20% or more in a fully stocked emergency fund, I'm going to get to the cool part where we can start thinking about children's college savings and charitable giving. And so I have $5,000 a year marked. That's an Indiana kind of thing where you get 20% back on your Indiana state taxes for 529 contributions. That's going to vary from state to state. And so don't take that number as the gospel. That number will change. But whatever number you can give to your kids would be appropriate to put down here after your retirement savings and after short-term savings goals are met. So what we want to determine, where are you now? And where do you want to go? So now this begins our goal building exercises where we said, I want to achieve this or I want to get to a certain level. And so now we're going to apply it here. So your personalized program here, these are empty. Make them your own. Again, we're not trying to force you into anything and make you do this. We're setting a roadmap, some guidelines for you. But now we've cleared the path. Do your own personal program. Make this your own. Everybody is different and everybody has different goals. And that's where we have to yield to that. Say, come on, just back off, make this your own. And that's what I want you to do. Put this in. What does your emergency fund look like? Retirement, is that in line? How are you going to achieve that? What does this all look for you? I know mine um, is looking at the moment. I've got an emergency fund, 3 months of living expenses set aside. I'm contributing to my 401k, maxing that out. And then what I'm looking at right now is saving 15% of my income. So again, 10% is not locked in. I'm going to save 15% of my income for a down payment for a house that I want to buy next year, May of 2022. And then after that, if I have anything left over, that's where I move into college savings and charitable giving. And I can slice and dice that however I want to. So here's what it would look like for my budget. You can see the overall monthly profit is currently set at $1,315 or 19% of income. And so, like we said, we want 15% of the income going towards the house. So that just goes into a money market savings account at the moment. So that comes out to $1,038 a month towards savings. And then the remainder, which is $277 a month, can go towards college and giving. And so the way I allocate it is I'm only going to take $2,000 per year because it's my understanding that myself and my ex-wife, we can maybe share that. And so I'll give her a little leeway here and just go $2,000 per year this year. And the rest will go to charitable giving. So now I've earmarked every dollar of overall profit to go towards my savings goals. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add that to my budget. So I've got Capital One savings and I got my 529 direct plan that is going to go towards the kids' colleges. And then my giving is going to Coburn Place, which is a battered women's shelter in Indianapolis. And so that balances me all out. And then the important part here is pay yourself first. We need to set up automatic payments. And I promise, because I do it and I've done it, if you don't set up the automatic payments, it won't happen. The whole system kind of breaks down. And so you'll essentially, if you don't pay yourself first, you get whatever's left over at the end. And so you've got to really take control, pay yourself first, and set it and forget it. Because if you don't, I promise you, I've done this myself. It doesn't pay off for you. So here's what I would do. I get paid the first of every month, one time a month. And so what I'll do is on the second of each month, I have an automatic payment set to go to Capital One for $1,038. I've got the direct plan automatic deposit going to the 529 plans and an automatic giving that goes either in straight to Coburn Place, or if you want to batch it, you put it into a little savings account and then send, based on tax purposes, send it all in one shot at certain points. So, but I'm going to set automatic savings to go to all of these accounts and all of these destinations. So what you might be thinking is, okay, well, what if I'm moving this all? I don't have any leeway. If I have an expensive month, or if I break the budget a little bit, I go over. So a couple of tips for you. You can either leave, $1,000 or $2,000 in your checking account to avoid overdraft. So we certainly don't want that. Another thing that I like to do is for expenses, I'll just pay. I'll use my credit card and I'll pay it off every month. And I'm tracking it every week, so I know when I'm going over or not. And then I'll just pay it every month from my new paycheck. So a couple things that will help you avoid overdraft and also still allow you to pay yourself first each month. So when we're choosing investments, we need to think about a couple of different things. First of all, your personal risk tolerance. The time horizon, how long you are going to invest, and then ultimately, based on those two things, the riskiness of your investments. Okay, so let's make a deal here. to understand our own personal risk tolerance. I'll offer you a fair coin flip. I'll let you even call heads or tails. And if you win the coin flip, you win $101. I'll give you $101. If you lose the coin flip, you pay me $100. I'll give you my Venmo, PayPal. You let me know, and we'll set this up. So what do you think? Will you take this coin flip or not? I know I've asked this in all of my behavioral finance classes, my investment classes over the last 6 years, and I've had 2 students ever take me up on this coin flip. And of course, I back out of this coin flip because, well, personally, I feel the same way. I'm not taking this coin flip, and most people will not take this coin flip. But why not? Why are we all chicken about this bet? Because it should have a better payout than doing nothing at all. 50% chance of winning $101 is 50 cents greater than 50% chance of losing $100. So what do you think? Why do we not take this bet? If we got to the core of this, our emotions, we think about it this way. How about this? Losing $100 is going to hurt more than the happiness I get from winning $101. How does that sound? That's how I would explain it. And this is actually called loss aversion. So loss aversions are felt more strongly than gains. So we're feeling the loss. It hurts more than the happiness we would receive from gaining the $101. Okay, well, how much do you need to win to take this bet? The average investor says I need $225 I need to win $225 in order to potentially lose $100. What is your number? Think about your number. How much do you need to win in order to put up $100 for a coin flip? This is an important number to understand because it tells you about your personal risk tolerance. So for me, I'm about, depending on the day, between about 170 and 190. So my risk aversion level is about 1.7 to 1.9, and which is a little bit under average. But we have some people who would say it's going to take 1,000. We call that hyper loss aversion, and it's possible. And there's no right or wrong. It's just an understanding on how we perceive risk when we're making our investments. If we're very risk averse or we're very loss averse, we don't want to go crazy on our investments. It's going to drive us crazy. So we need to be more conservative. And that's where we're trying to just get a first look of understanding our own personal risk tolerance. The other thing is understanding the time horizon. So if you have, 65 minus your age, that's actually me right now. It's 25 years until retirement. Got a long time horizon. So a market can go up and down. We can have some good markets, bad markets. In the end, it generally goes upwards. And I've got time to weather those bad market environments. That's a completely different timetable from a 14-month period to paying down the house or making a down payment on the house. If I put that in the stock market and let it bounce up and down, it's going to wildly fluctuate. It might be on a downturn in 14 months, and I don't want to pull all my money out when everything's been reduced. So again, the longer the time horizon, the more risk that we can take on with our investments. The shorter time horizon, we're going to go a little less risky. So which time horizon is more compatible with higher risk? Yeah. The longer time horizon. Okay. So matching investments with you and your goals. So here is a nice little pyramid about some of the high risk and low risk general investments, the riskiness of investments. So options and futures, cryptocurrencies. Warren Buffett says he doesn't invest in anything he doesn't understand. Cryptocurrencies, I've heard many presentations on it. I've tried to understand it. I still don't understand it. I still don't invest in it. Um, Options and futures, I've written research papers on it. I've been published in this, and I still don't use those in my own accounts. They're too risky. Where I like to live is in stocks and bonds and real estate, and even to a certain extent commodities, which are gold, silver, and that's just a very small portion of a portfolio. And then after that, you've got at the way bottom cash and cash equivalents. Money markets is slightly higher, and some of the government bonds at the end at this taping in March 2021, not a lot of it is yielding anything. And so if you have a bond that is having a higher interest rate, you're usually going to take on higher risk. So that's just something that's always going to be prevalent. If you get a higher rate of return, it means you're going to be taking on a higher risk. There are no free lunches in the world of investments. And so you can see all the different options that you have for you and your goals based on your personal preferences and your time horizon. And so one last thing about these investments is don't put all your eggs in one basket. So diversification, diversify them. So instead of putting all of it in one of these categories, spread them out. Because if one goes up, the other goes down. There's a diversification, a balancing process, and we don't want all of your eggs to be in that one basket in case that is the one area that gets major downturn or gets hammered over a certain amount of time. And that's where we say spread them out. Put some money in stocks. Put some money in real estate. Have some cash available for emergencies. Have some bonds for fixed income. This is a very prudent way to go. So at this point, you might be saying, and other diversification ways we can do it. That was asset classes that I just showed you. Another thing we like to do is geography. We can diversify internationally. This provides historically a lot of, you can maintain returns, but then lower the risk of your portfolio by investing internationally. And we also have what is called a home bias, is we really like to invest domestically, and because we feel safer and familiar with it, even though there are tremendous benefits to international investing or international markets. Making sure that we're not invested in just one industry. Some of us are in love with technology because it's been so hot recently. These are the people who got burned back in 2000 when we had a similarly hot technology sector. Diversify, go into other industries within the stock market. And the same thing with company sizes, large cap, small cap, mid cap. We want a diversified portfolio of all of them. Don't put all of your eggs into this small cap portfolio because you are just going to go on a roller coaster ride of returns over time. And so we're going to smooth that out by diversifying as well. So you might be saying, oh my gosh, okay, we just had all of this diversification and we're going in all different directions. Where do I go from here? And that's where I have Harnessing Help right on the heels of all of this. Do not feel like you need to do this on your own. That's what advisors are for, and that's what they're paid for. And they're usually worth the money that you pay for them. And like I said before, I have my own advisors, I have my own tax people to assist me because even I need help with my investments, even though I teach investments, because it's important to have a 4-eye check, another set of eyes to look at the situation and to if I'm getting emotional, to take me away from being emotional, even though I know better than that. Same thing with the tax advisor. There is no way I'm going to stay up to date on all things taxes, so I need some assistance. with this. So don't be afraid to harness assistance. So here's some keys, though, what to look for in a financial advisor. If they're trying to sell you something or they're pushing products on you, get the hell out of there, run for the hills. We do not want to align ourselves with a financial advisor who is commission based like that. And so what we're looking for generally is a fee based. So if they want to take a few basis points, 0.75% of my portfolio as a fee, that's okay because they usually make up for it in extra returns, just in helping me avoid mistakes and providing accountability. They usually make up for that. And so that's the kind of fee-based structure that I would be looking at. One thing that's really, really important is fiduciary duty. Fiduciary duty means that if they have a fiduciary duty, they have an obligation to do what is best for me or you, the client. If they don't have a fiduciary agreement, they don't have to, by law, necessarily do what is right and in your best interest. So for some people, they might turn over portfolios, making extra money for commissions and trading costs. They could do all sorts of stuff, buy insurance products that you don't need, but with the fiduciary agreement, they're required by law to do everything in your best interest as a financial advisor. And the CPF designation is also very helpful. That's a certified financial planner, so it's CFP. I just had it switched around there. Certified financial planner is the designation that you want to find as well. Tax advisor, same thing. They earn their salt each year. They always find something that I would have never thought of or have known about, and it's important to have somebody on your side who's available all year round in case you need them, not a fly-by-night and then pack up their bags on April 15th and not come back until February. You want somebody who's available all year round and somebody obviously that has preferably a CPA designation, certified public accountant. Depending on your employer, there could be assistance there. HR can assist you. And you might have through your retirement program somebody who could assist you and give you a wellness checkup. That's always good, especially if it's for free. And then we also have online resources. This is the point when we kind of take a step back and say the actual asset allocation, the actual investments is going to be between you and your financial advisor, that we want to make sure you get into the right hands. But when you need more assistance on prioritizing and building wealth and allocating your automatic savings, that's our world. So that's where you can come to our website, take a look at that, listen to our Happy Hour podcast where we take ourselves very seriously, and follow us on Instagram as we go through this journey together. So again, we're not just doing this for 90 days. We're building something into our lives that is going to make an impact on ourselves and generations, hopefully, of our families. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you again. Thanks again. Bye-bye.